Hi all, let's proceed with one of the important topic of Java, that is OOPS concept. And this video will be little lengthy than the previous other videos, but this is a very informative and very important video. So let's proceed with this video. So first of all, what does OOPS stands for? OOPS stands for Object Oriented Programming System. This is a kind of programming approach where programs are designed using classes and objects. And Java is purely an OOPS concept. Java is purely based on classes and objects. In Java, whatever code we are writing, we are always creating a class and a method. Main method is like main method. Without this main method in which we are passing the string arguments and a class that should be of same name as a file name, this is very important in Java. Okay, so why oops is used? Now, this should be your question. Before oops, we have other programming, sequential programming, procedural programming, and many other programming approaches. But whatever problem was there in those programming was there we have to, for repetitive tasks, we have to write duplicate code. The maintenance is very difficult if the code base becomes very large, and the security we had there is very low, and it's very hard to manage the large applications. So whenever this OOP concept came, it solves all those problems. So that's why there is a need of OOPs, and Java is one of the industry preferred language from I think last past 15 years. And I don't think in like future 15 years this Java will lose its importance, because whether the AI will come or whatever will come, this Java programming will always remain at top. Why? With AI you can prompt that AI, it will write you the code for Java, but that Java need is never gonna lose its importance, right? Now, what are the advantages of OOP? Let's see. The code reusability. You need to write code once, and other classes can use the code you have written in the one class. You can use different, like, sorry, you can use different things like inheritance, the one of the pillar of OOPS. You can use that for code reusability. There are many ways in which you can use the code, already written code. And OOPS also provide us better security, easy maintenance, modularity, flexibility, scalability, and real world modeling. That's why Java is OOPS heavy. For example, you have a class, it has some properties, color, speed, and brand, and it has some methods or behavior, start, stop, accelerate. So in Java, you created a car, that a class, that is just a blueprint, okay? And the actual data you have is in object, and oops always follow this concept class and object. I already has shown you in my previous video. We have created one class student, and we created some properties, name, age, and we created some behavior like study and play, you remember? Similarly, you can think of it as car as another example. And the four main pillars of oops, or the four main major things that we have in OOPS is encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. We have multiple kind of polymorphism like compile time and runtime. We have different type of inheritance, single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical. We'll see all these in detail in this video. Now, classes and object. This is the very foundation of OOPS. We have already seen classes just a blueprint or a template, or we have seen an example. If you are building a home, you will first create the blueprint, right? That blueprint you can think of as a class. For example, we already have seen the class student, and here we have assigned, like used, written a property name. Now, to create the object, we have already seen we create the object like this. We will write student s1 equals to new student, and this will allocate the heap memory, and whatever things will happen we have already seen in the previous video. So I won't go in detail about classes and object. If you want, you can watch my previous videos. Now, what is encapsulation? This is the first pillar of OOPS. Encapsulation, you have seen that capsule tablets. We get like we have a capsule, and that is like binded this way. Tablets, capsule tablet, you must have seen that. And similarly, you can relate encapsulation with that capsule. It basically means you are wrapping up the data and the method together in that one unit. Here you can think that this is data, and on second half you have methods, and you are encapsulating it in one unit, and that unit is your class. So in a class, if you are wrapping up the data and the method together, that is known as encapsulation. This is basically the important concept that we use for hiding our data. And we use basically private variables to use, like private int age. Okay, this is this kind of data we'll be writing to give a start to our encapsulation concept. For example, real life example, if I'll take, you all have you always see like ATM machine, if it is there, you can either do the withdrawal of the money or you can deposit the money. But have you ever wondered how all these things happen? What is the concept behind this ATM machine? You always see that you can deposit the money and withdraw the money, but internal data is hidden. How it is hidden? That is the concept of encapsulation. And encapsulation provides us better security, controlled access, data hiding, and better maintainability. Now, in encapsulation, you will see that I already told you, will be creating a private variable like private int marks. And here, how we will access this, right? Now we created this as private. Now if we want to set these marks, or we want to get whatever the marks value is, so how we will be getting to know that? There comes the concept of this getter and setter methods. These we used for the accessing of private variables. Now we'll create, this is setter, in which what we are doing, we are creating a public. These getter and setters are always public. You are creating this public void set marks, and you are assigning what marks you have. And using the get marks, you are accessing the marks of student. Okay, and you can call them as get marks and set marks. This is very, very, very common in industry level projects. I'll just quickly show you what it looks like in an editor. Just give me a moment. I'll just open my VS Code. Now, in this VS Code, we'll go through encapsulation concept. Encapsulation.java, we are creating this class. Here we'll create public class encapsulation. Inside that, always remember what we'll be creating. We'll creating public static void main string arguments. Okay. So what we will be doing here is we'll just create a, like, we can take example from our previous student class, but I won't go with that. I'll just create a very basic example for you. In this encapsulation only, I'll create a private variable named, okay, or let's go with marks only. Now, how will you access this? For this, you need to create a setter. First of all, how will you set the marks for it? So first of all, you need to create a setter method, and this is using public void set marks, and then whatever marks, that is a string value you are giving. And this, what is this keyword? This we will see in our upcoming videos, the use of this keyword. And now the getter method. Okay, this is an inline suggestion. For now, I won't accept it. I'll just go with my getter method. I'll use this get marks and will return these marks, right? Now, how will you access this? This marks you have now. Here you'll create the object first. Encapsulation object you created, for example, student, and you set that the marks as 85, and here you are accessing it using the get marks method, right? And we have seen how do we access like behavior or properties of an object. So this is just that. Now what we will be doing, we'll just compile our Java code. using Java C, then our class name. Here the compilation will take few seconds, then we'll run our code. This Java compiler will convert our source code into bytecode. Remember all these explanations also. So here we set those marks as 85, and now we've got these marks as 85 here in our output. So this was the concept of encapsulation. This is basically for hiding the data in which we are wrapping all our objects and behaviors in a capsule kind of thing, or in a capsule. That capsule is one unit, and that one unit is called as our class. And we have like created the string marks variable of private type, and then we have used this setter and getter method. So always remember how we have written these, and the relevance of this keyword, this return keyword, and everything we'll be seeing in another videos. But for now, you should be clear about what does encapsulation mean, as this is a very important topic if you are moving forward, okay, in Java. Now, inheritance. Inheritance is the another or the second pillar of OOPS, in which one class acquires properties and methods of another class. In simple word, there will be two classes. One is the parent class, or you can say it as superclass, or you can like parent or superclass, you can say, and you will have one ch- or multiple child classes of it, or you can say it as subclass. So remember these words only. These two words, your whole inheritance concept is staying. Here, one class, that is our superclass, will be having some properties and methods, and subclasses or the child classes will be using or accessing those methods and the variables whatever we have. Now, for if you want to see a real life example, imagine an example like animal. So animal have some methods, say eat, sleep, or whatever methods it have. Like if dog is the child of that animal, then it can automatically get the eat and sleep method from animal. For that, you need to use a keyword called extends. This dog class will extend what? Animal class. This extend keyword is really very important, that is used for inheritance. I'll show you the example of this also. See, first of all, we have a class animal in which we have a method eat and we are printing eating. Okay. Then we have a dog class in which we use this extends keyword and we are extending this animal class. Then you can have a different method barking here. But if you try to create an object of dog class using dog, d equals to new dog, and you try to call a method that is of class animal, but you are calling it using the object of dog, d dot eat, it will still work because this dog has is the, you can say, child class or the subclass here, and animal is the super class or the parent class. So this child class will get all the properties and the methods or the behaviors that is there in the parent class. Here, this is the same. We have created a dog object and we are accessing the methods. That eat method is of animal and the spark method is of dog class. So both will work. Here, you can easily see that the advantages are that you are able to use the code, reuse the code, the duplication is reduced, maintainability is improved, and it supports hierarchy also. Now, first of all, let's see our VS code and we'll see what does I mean by inheritance. So, in this VS code, I hope you can see my VS code. If it's not yet visible, I'll just, yeah. Now we'll create inheritance class, inheritance.java, in which we have public class inheritance. Okay, in which we can create our main method and we can call this dog. Now you must be thinking, what is dog class? What is animal class? So here only we'll create these classes, public class dog. Okay. So first of all, let's create animal. And what will be there in animal? Animal have this eat method. Then we will be creating our next class, public class dog. And we will be using this extend keyword, and we created this bark method here. Okay. Now with this, what you can do, like in this class, in main method, you created the object of dog class, that is a child class of animal class. You can call both these method eat and bark, right? So let's try to run our Java inheritance. It won't work because we forgot to use the extension .java. Mm, Class dog is public, should be declared in a file name dog.java. Let's remove this keyword for now, and let's try here what happens. Now see, we created the object of dog and we called this eat method, and eat method was present in class animal, and it worked fine. The animal eats food. And the bark method was from dog class, and that is also working. You can see here we created this eat method in animal, and we are able to use this method for a dog class because dog is extending this and it is inheriting the properties and the variables whatever we have in this animal class. So I think with this you are clear with concept of inheritance. And now let's proceed with our PPT. Now there are different types of inheritance. Java supports single, multi-level, and hierarchical. But if you want to go for multiple inheritance, I told you that multi-level is different, multiple is different. So multiple inheritance you can achieve only with like multiple inheritance you cannot achieve with the classes. There is some other concept we'll be seeing later to achieve this kind of inheritance. Okay. Now, I don't want to go ahead with single level, multi level, and hierarchical. I leave it up to you to explore what is single level inheritance, what is multi level inheritance. If you want me to create those videos, I'll be happy to make them, but if only you will comment. Otherwise, I won't spend my time in all these because these are very, very easiest concepts. Or if you want, I can show you just some like insights of it. Just a second. Single level inheritance. Or I can show you in my like open board. I can create a diagram and tell you what all these differences mean. Mm, This is very basic and easy concept. The example which we have seen right now was of single level inheritance only, in which we were extending the dog class and the animal class was the parent class. This is the example of single level inheritance. But if you want to see the examples of other kind of inheritances, so you can go to any of the website and you can easily see. But for now, I can show you what do I mean by multiple, hybrid, multi-level, and hierarchical. So single we have already seen. I'll just open my open board and give you an overview of it. Wait a second. Mm, yeah. So what does I mean by uh, uh, see? First we have is single inheritance. Okay, in single inheritance, consider we have a parent class, and from parent class, we have a child class. Okay, child class. And this child class is extending the parent class. Okay, this parent class is the super class and it has some properties and methods. Now, the child class, whatever it has, it can use extends keyword and extend that parent class what we have and can access all the properties and methods we have. Okay. Now, another is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level, you can think, you can derive a class. A derived class will be inheriting a base class as well as the derived class also acts as the base class for other class. Here the level will get increased. So let me proceed with telling you about multi-level inheritance. See, now it is multi-level inheritance. In multi-level, think of like this way: grandfather, father, and son. Okay. So this and one more thing I forgot to tell. This is there are two things. One is base class and another one is derived class. So the base class is the one that is parent class. Parent class is also known as base class and the child class is also known as derived class. Okay. So now here you will see in multi-level, first of all, we have a grandfather as a base class. Okay. For base class for father and father is the derived class for grandfather. But at the same time, this is the base class for son and this son is the derived class because here whatever properties and methods that is there in grandfather can be used by father and whatever the properties and methods are there in father can be used by son. So always remember the concept of base class and the derived class. Base class is the one which have all the properties and everything methods, and the derived class is the one that is using the properties and methods of that class. Now, another one is we have is hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance in which you will be having a class and that class is being inherited by two other classes. For example, you will be having one class as base class. This class will be your base class and two of the other classes or three of the other classes and many other classes are being derived from that same class. For example, we had a class animal. Now that can be derived by dog, that can be derived by cat, that can be derived by rat. All these three can use it and can be derived. That is our hierarchical inheritance. Okay. And the another is multiple inheritance that you can achieve only through interfaces. That is always remember multiple inheritance. This is the very important concept that can be achieved only by interfaces. Okay. What can be achieved by interfaces can be directly asked in interviews. Always remember Java multiple inheritance is possible with interfaces only. One class can have more than one superclass and inherit features from all parent classes. The Java doesn't support this with classes. In Java, you can achieve it using interfaces only. For example, you have now in this, you have uh, that is two base classes, not classes. Here I'll say interfaces. With classes, this is not possible in Java. This is not possible in Java with classes. It is only possible with interfaces. You will have two derived class. No, two base classes. And that are being used by one of the derived. The, I am misspelling it. That's not classes. That is interface. Okay. Java doesn't support multiple inheritance with classes. We can only achieve it through interfaces. For example, and how do you create that interface? You use a keyword interface. I can give you the example of this multiple Let me give you the example of this. I won't skip this topic also because it's really very important for interview. So let's proceed with multi-level inheritance. Just give me a second. Hmm. I hope my VS Code is visible now. Uh, multiple inheritance dot Java. See, by mistakenly created it, but let me use this interface. For example, a interface in which you have a method and we create another interface. I know you won't be able to get my points because I have not explained you about what is an interface till now. But for now, just remember interface is the kind of thing in which you can just declare the methods, but you can't define them and you can't write anything about those methods. Okay, you can just declare those methods. Okay, and you can create a class that will be implementing these methods. Now, remember the word I am saying is implementing. For example, you are creating a class multiple inheritance that is implementing what? What it is implementing? It is implementing class A as well as class B, and it has a method A that is from class A declaration where it is doing its task and initializing or printing or something. Similarly, you have a method B whose definition is also there inside this class only. And then you have the main method where you have created the object and you are calling both the methods. So always remember this kind of inheritance. Here we are not using extends keyword, we are using implements because these A and B are our interfaces. And in interfaces, for now, you should be aware that you can declare methods only, but you can't write their definitions and you can't write like methods inside, like inside method, you can't write anything. You can't initialize them or nothing can be done in interface. But this can be done if you implement it and the whatever class you are implementing it with, you can declare sorry, define and write whatever things you want and initialize everything can be done this way only. Okay, now I'll run this for you. I'll try to run it. Java. It's compiling our code. See here it says file not found. Multiple. Okay, multiple. Oh, why it's not finding? We have this file. I think I have misspelled this file. I'll try to run it this way. Mm, What is happening here? It says class multiple inheritance is public should be declared in a file name multiple inheritance.java. So I think if I'll remove these interfaces from here and if I'll create interface a dot java and I'll paste this code. Just a second. I'll write it again. It was easy only. Interface A and void method A. And let's say we created interface B also inside this. Now, if I try to compile and run my previous, uh, still it says, okay, it should be inside another one. Let me for now just create an interface B. Now let me try running it again. Like if you'll do this way, you'll face some errors, and that is beneficial for you because you will be getting to know many new things. Now here it says cannot find. Okay, we are creating this class, but we are expecting to create the interface here. So here you have to, like, while creating a class, you should get some new file, and there must be some feature to make an interface. Okay, I'm not gonna find symbol, public class, multiple inheritance, A, B. Okay, if I'll rename it to A. Oh my God, it will take time. Let me create a new a.java in which, oh, it created a folder. Mm, this way only you can tackle errors. So I'm happy to face these errors. Okay, it's responding very slow. I'll just cancel it once. New file a dot. Let's create b dot java. Okay, a dot java is already created. B dot java. Here we have mm, interface b and void method b. Now let me try running it again. It should work now. Oh, public class. Why it's throwing an error on public class multiple inheritance? Okay, we need not to make it public. We can directly, I think, wait, multiple inheritance. If I remove this public keyword here, now it should work. So the error was this. Basically, the issue was with no, couldn't find this class not found. I'll run it this way. This is my ID problem. Otherwise, this code is perfectly fine. You can go through this code later. I think it's causing some issue because of this ID only. So don't worry. Now let's proceed back with our PPT. Mm, So here, I hope you can see my PPT now. So now we are moving forward with our next topic, that is polymorphism in Java. Polymorphism means poly means many, morphism means forms. So the name itself is suggesting one thing behaving in multiple forms. And there are two types of polymorphism. One is compile time, another is runtime. Compile time is also known as method overloading, and runtime is also known as method overriding. Okay, so compile time polymorphism can be achieved with method overloading. Method overloading, what does I mean by method overloading? For example, we have a class named math, we have a method add, and then it is with integer, right? And we have a method add and we have two arguments here. Same add method we want to create. We want to have a method that is of same name with this add. Then we can create it using method overloading. Either we need to change this data type from int to double, or we need to change the number of parameters we are passing. There is different things by which we can achieve this compile time. One thing is, you can, if you have a method add this way, int a, int b, and you have some definitions of this. Now if you want to overload it, but you want to have this same int Then what you can do, int add, then you need to change the number of arguments you are passing, int b and int c. One way is this. Another what you can do is you can use double. In double add, you can pass the same number of arguments like you had in these two, int a comma int b, or you can in double add int a, int b, int c. So either you, if you want the method with same name, either change the parameters or change the signature. Okay. Now it will be double, not in double, you will be passing double, okay, parameters. Now, runtime polymorphism that can be achieved by overriding. In interview, you will be asked the difference between method overloading and method overriding. Then you should be able to answer this question. For example, now method overriding means you have a class animal in which you have a method sound. You are printing animal sound. Then the dog class is extending that animal method, and then you are whatever method you had in the parent class, you are writing the same method, but you are changing the definition here. That can be done using runtime polymorphism. That is known as runtime polymorphism. That at runtime, you are changing this definition of this method that you had it in the parent class. Now, when you create an object and you call a sound method, then it will show you the dog barks because you are calling the constructor of class dog. This dog constructor is being called. This at runtime, this is being decided. I can give you the example of both method overloading and overriding. So let's see in our VS Code. I hope you can see my VS Code. We'll create a new file. We'll create a public class method overloading. Then we'll pass public. Okay, I have misspelled this. That's why I was thinking it's not giving me suggestions after Java. I just by mistakenly added this. Now public static void main. This is always the first step I do. You have always seen in my videos. Whatever thing comes up or not, I'll first write always these because these are very important if you're creating a program. Okay, now we are creating a method called add here, right? Which we are passing two arguments and returning their sum. Now, what do you mean by method overloading? You will get understanding here. Here, like you can either use different number of parameters in add method, or another way is you can do a method overloading using different types of parameter. For example, in this double add, this here you change the signature from int to double, and the number of parameters is same as that we had in before. Okay, now in main method what you can do is you can create the object of the class method overloading, and you can call with the number of parameters you want. If you try to add three numbers, that will be done by this method. If you try to add two numbers, that will be done by this method. If you want to add two numbers of double type data type, then you can your this method will get executed here. Now let's see the output. I will run this code. You'll see in output you will get 15 here, then 30, then 16.0. So this is about method overloading. Now let's see method overriding also. Method overriding is also very important. So first of all, let's create our class that is of same name, method overriding, and we'll create this. I'll remove this and we'll create public static void main, passing the arguments. Now we will be creating two classes, parent and child class. Okay, First of all, we'll create a class called parent, in which we will create a method display, and we'll say this is a parent class. Similarly, we'll create a child class, and what we will be using here is at the rate override keyword we will be using, so that we can override this method of parent class, because the child class is using the properties and values of parent and will be printing that this is a child class. Now, whenever you create an object of parent or object of class, you can do it this way. But what if like, first let me show you the output of this. The output of this, you can expect that when the parent display method is being called, this will print this is a parent class. And when the child display method is being called, it will print this is a child class. But what if you forgot to write at the rate override keyword? Let me remove it. Then how can you do that? Then while you are creating the object child, here you need to write parent. Constructor will be the one that is of child, but when you start creating, you will create it as a parent. I'll just run it. Java C method writing dot Java. See, this is a parent class. There is no difference in the output. Either you can use here at the rate override and you can create a object of this child class directly using the child here. But if you are not preferring to use at the rate override, then you will have to use parent here. Okay. I hope you understand the concept of method overloading and overriding. If it is not clear, I'll suggest you to once go through my video again. Then you will be better able to understand what do I mean by all those terms. What do I mean by method overloading? What do I mean by method overriding? I hope this explanation is enough for now. Now let's proceed with abstraction in Java. This is the another most important concept that we have in Java. Abstraction means hiding the implementation details. The abstraction, abstract keyword or abstraction. These things are there in Java that will confuse you a lot, but this is really the easiest topic, I'll say. Abstraction means hiding the implementation details and showing only the essential features. For example, you are driving a car, you are using steering, you are using brakes, you are using accelerator, but engine internally is hidden. That is called abstraction. Now, remember encapsulation we have seen? Remember with the example of ATM, because in interviewers, people might ask you, give me some real life examples of this. And in abstraction, you can give the example of car. Now, how can you achieve this abstraction? That can be done with two methods. First is using abstract class. Abstract class is created using abstract keyword, and another is using interface. You remember we have seen, like, we have read like, not discussed about the interface, but using when we were looking for multiple inheritance, I told you that can be achieved by interfaces. So this is the same interface concept with which we can achieve abstraction, and the 100% abstraction can only be achieved with interfaces, not even with abstract classes. Now we'll see what is abstract class and what is interface. Whenever you create a class with a keyword called abstract, that is called abstract class. For example, like you were creating a class animal like public class, and you were like using any access modifier public and something. But if you use abstract keyword here, then it will become a abstract class. And the benefit of the abstract class is you cannot create the object directly of this. If you have this, for example, we'll see this. Uh, let's okay, let's see the example of abstract class. Then we'll go to interfaces. I'll show you my VS Code. Now let's create a new file, abstract class example.java. Now let's create abstract class. Abstract class, and here you declared a abstract method void display. Now, next thing is how will you achieve this and how will you use this basically, right? This should be your next question. So, I don't think for now this concept is required. Just I was telling you how you can use the abstract keyword and you can create the methods as abstract, and how you can create interface. I can tell you, you can use this interface keyword and then you can give it any name and you can declare methods here. Remember, you can't define or initialize, but you just need to declare them. Let's proceed with our PPT back. So interfaces means used for full abstraction, or we say it as 100% abstraction. Here you can create any interface with interface keyword animal, and here you can declare a method. This is the most important topic when you will be working with Spring Boot. This is a framework of Java only and the enterprise Java. Now one super short revision will be OOPS is a object-oriented programming system. It is based on classes and objects. It has four important pillars: encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Encapsulation means data hiding, and you are binding or wrapping up the data in the capsule or a one unit called class. These data and methods are being encapsulated. Inheritance is basically used for code reuse. You have different types of inheritance: single level, multi-level, multiple, and hierarchical. These are the four things. Hybrid is also a kind of inheritance that is the combination of any of these. Okay. Polymorphism means multiple forms in which you have seen two things, that is runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. In compile time means method overloading and runtime means method overriding. And abstraction means hiding implementation details. Overloading means compile time and overriding means runtime. So one line definition for OOPS will be: it's a programming approach that organizes software using classes and objects to improve reusability, security, and maintainability. So this was all about you should be aware of OOPS concept, and this is a really very important video. So please go through it twice if you don't understand any concept. And if you like my video, please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends to extend the knowledge. Thanks all. Bye bye.